Hello everybody, and welcome back to the next episode of Kerbal Space Program, 0.25. And here, floating majestically in orbit, is our craft, the Dres Explorer. And there's the moon floating right next to us. So last episode, if you joined us then, we launched this thing. Basically, it's a modified version of our Moho Explorer. A little less expensive, didn't have to use quite as many boosters and whatnot, but pretty much the same, except for minor differences. I did include an SAS module on the actual lander this time, which will actually help us out with a lot of stability once we get towards Dres. And there's a little booster floating away over there. That's right, we had to eject those boosters. There's another one in the last episode. So we should be left with, relatively full fuel tanks here, which if you take a look, we have a nice whopping 3311 meters per second in this stage. We can ignite these engines for basically 2 minutes and 38 seconds, which is going to be nice when you have to go out past Duna's orbit over to there. That's where we want to aim for right there. But before we do anything, we have to make sure that our phase is lined up. So let's take a look at the celestial body. We're going to go to Dres. Right now our phase angle is 107.4, but I wrote it down over here. We want to get to about 82.06, so we're not quite there, but luckily the counters are counting down, so we don't have to go that much. We only have to change about 20 more degrees of phase right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down to our illustrious craft, the Time Waster, like usual. It's the standard operating procedure, and we're going to use that craft. So here we are on the surface of the launch pad yet again. Up there somewhere is our Dres craft orbiting over. Oh, it's getting a little cloudy over here. So here, as we can see, we're still at 107. We're going to get it down to about 82.1. It's supposed to be 82.06, but 82.1 will give us a little bit of leeway when we're trying to do this here. And again, 82.0 is what we're looking for. I don't want to miss it. I'm classic. I'm known for missing phase angles. We're going to 82.1 is basically what we're going to aim for. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, just a little further. Well, like 0.10 basically. Just watching this second number here, the 100th place. We're going to want to get that right down to 0, basically. It's getting there now. And just about... there we are. Okay, that's close, basically, close enough. And as you can see, it's kind of got similar to Joule, getting to Joule, where Joule was kind of like a 3 o'clock. This is a little less than 3 o'clock, something like that. But that'll do us right there. And let's go back to our ship, the Dres Explorer, and we will switch to this target right here. 82.06 is what we were looking for, but again, we were at 82.109 or 8 now, and that's fine. That's going to give us a little bit of leeway. So here we want to set up a standard pro-grade burn. So again, we're going to want to burn on the dark side of Kerbin, somewhere along here. And the angle of escape should be something like this, close to that purple line, just a little bit to the right of it. And we're just gonna, oh wow, we've gotten way past it. Went a little too crazy there. I think the ejection angle, the ejection burn should only be about 1500. I've gone past it by about 300. So what that means for us is that we just kind of have to take this maneuver node and just move it back a little bit. Just a little bit, and that should help us out a good deal. Okay. So again, we'll just push it a little further. Just making sure that this angle doesn't get too far away from the purple one. It's a bit finicky. You know how that goes. Alright, so again, just like the Moho mission, it's not going to line up just right, because as you can see, the inclination of Dres is kind of messed up, so we're going to have to try to fix that. Let's just see what happens if we get out here to the ascending node. What does that do for our orbit? It pushes it out a little bit, so what that means to me is we're going to have to burn a little further out. I'm recording right now! Sorry about that. So we're going to have to just move this thing just a little bit further out. So we're just going to cancel this node right here. Yeah, it seems to have switched them around. So let's do that again. Let's do it one more time. We'll pull it all the way out. Oh, what in the heck? It's confused. It was back here somewhere. And again, it was something like 1500, I think. Something back here. Lots of zooming in, lots of zooming out. That's basically how it goes in this. Alright. That seems a little bit better. Just gonna push it out just a little more, and we can check with this one more time. See if we can get this. Ooh, that was close. There was something that popped up. Here we are. Yes, we got a close approach when we do it this way. We do go a little bit out. As you can see, we're going to be a little bit past it. So I think what that means for us is, if we don't go quite as ham on this one, let's see if this affects anything. Yeah, it does. We'll get it. Oh, look at that. Nice, okay. So I think we'll go with that. Basically what that's saying is if we do this one just like that and that one just like that, we should meet up just like that over there. So that's what we're gonna do. I think we can just get rid of this one. We don't quite need that one. So we're gonna do this one, and then once we do that one, it will adjust it for us. So, alright, that worked out pretty well. It's gonna be, well, we're not sure how long it's gonna be, what kind of burn we're looking at here, just because it doesn't remember how much thrust we had, basically. But that's okay. Alright, so let's get ourselves warped around. It's going to be in 20 minutes. So we're going to want to move this thing around. Get ourselves lined up for that shot. You know, like I said before, I've been to Dres maybe once, like ever, back in KSP version like 0.18 or something like that. And I just remember it being pretty unremarkable. Nothing really like crazy about it. Alright, let me just do a little test fire here. It's gonna be about 2-minute burn, so we're gonna burn it about 1 minute to the node. And that should make it nice and even. You always want to split that top number in half, and that's kind of tells you when you want to burn it. So basically right about now, we'll light these engines up and our delta V counter starts going down, letting us know that we are spending fuel. Indeed we are. We're dumping some gasoline out the back right there, and that's getting us what we want, hopefully, at least. So you can see we're pushing our orbit out, boosting us away from Kerbin, away from the home planet. Yeah, as I was saying before, Dres is pretty unremarkable. There's really not a whole lot going on. It's just kind of like a smaller planetoid. Not quite as small as a moon per se, but definitely not as big as Kerbin. But that's not to say that it won't be fun. We're definitely going to have a good time. Right, boys, Bob and Matt Lorf. Matt Lorf has answered the call once again. If you remember, and I think it was episode 5 of my original KSP .24 series. We rescued Matt Lorf from orbit, and we put him to use on the Eve mission. So he's back in action again. He's kind of becoming a veteran now. He's back in the seat again. This time going further than Duna. Further than Eve, rather, I should say. Further than Duna and out to Dres. That's alright. That's what these guys were made for. They're made for doing crazy, insane things. Like strapping themselves into basically a giant controlled explosion. Exploding them out away from their home planet. Trusting the mathematics of Isaac Newton and all the other great scientists and astronomers that came before him. Alright, we're getting right down to it. That should basically do us. Just a little bit more. Right there is going to be fine. It's going to be just fine. I like that. Alright, so that basically is our trans-Dres burn. And again, it doesn't look like much for now, but according to what we did before, and we can actually just check right now. Let's go ahead and put this maneuver node in. It's the ascending node, so we're going to pull down. And it looks like we are getting some sort of activity over here. Ah! Perfect! And we do indeed get an encounter. We do have to actually go out a little past Dres and come back in, so it's gonna waste like a little extra fuel, but this burn is only gonna cost us 820 meters per second, which is just great, because we have about double that amount of fuel in this tank here. We have about twice that much delta V, basically exactly twice as much. So we're going to have about 30 seconds of thrust left in this engine, which we're going to use then to slow down and capture ourselves in orbit around Dres. Because again, Dres does not have an atmosphere like some of the other places we visited, so it's, you know, we can't rely on that atmospheric braking to do some of the work for us. So I'm just going to go ahead and use some RCS here just to propel us towards that node. Again, in 0.25, the nav ball is showing us where these markers are. With a little arrow, it's telling us where to go, basically, and here it is coming up. They also added these other little, like the little pink triangle here. They think it's anti-normal, basically telling us that we are pointing straight south. So we'll just put on the SAS again. Line us up just like that. So let's just fling ourselves. There we go. It's turned us now towards the view of the ecliptic, and we can now see Kerbal flying away from us. As we normally do in times like this, we wonder what we're doing, and if we're going to end up coming back home or not. But usually it's been a success, I must say. I'm pretty happy with the way that this whole series is coming out so far, and I'm also really happy with the amount of comments and likes and engagement that I'm seeing. I feel like I've picked up a lot of fans, and I love every one of you guys. You know, it makes me feel good that people like my videos and they're watching it, and you know, it makes me want to make more videos. And that's kind of how it works. The more that I feel that you guys like it, it just makes me want to make more videos. So here we are, and that's exactly what we're doing. So let's get past this a little bit. We're just gonna warp out. We're gonna push it to 1,000 times. You see our pretty planet spin away from us for hopefully not the last time. Definitely want to get to the sun at some point. Make like a low sun orbiter. Not sure if I want to make it a manned craft or a probe. I'm kind of feeling probed, just because that just seems like a very dangerous thing, and it costs so much delta V to get into a low orbit around the sun. But you never know. I might get daring and send a manned crew out there. It would definitely be more impressive. Definitely take a little more planning, that's for sure. Where if you kind of send a probe out there, it doesn't really matter if you get them back or not. But that's been what I try to do in these missions, is get the guys back home. If you watched my last mini-series, the Moho series, we ended up building a refueler. Ooh, there we go. And the refueler came out there to meet up with the guys, and the refueler was able to help them get back home again. Which I kind of knew was going to happen, just because you can't really send a manned crew out to Moho and expect them to come back on one tank of gas. And you're going to need that extra fuel because there's just so many maneuvers required to get there, and it's so close to the sun that it just, every maneuver is like slowing down. But we did it, and I'm so happy with the way that mission turned out. I'm glad we were able to get those guys home. But here we are. We're coming up on our inclination change burn, and this is going to set us up for that awesome encounter that we have up there. Which I was quite surprised it turned out. I was like, there's no way that's going to meet up, but I guess so. It's a lot easier to hit a target that's not spinning around super stupid fast like Moho was. My goodness, that was very tough to hit that target. It's going to take 37 seconds, so we'll burn it about 20 seconds just to make things nice and even. Of course, at these interplanetary distances, it doesn't really matter too much if you're off by a couple hours or not. As long as you're within the correct day, I'm pretty sure it's okay. But here we are. And this is a really good view to see what we're doing. In this particular camera angle, we are burning south, in reference to the sun. It's kind of hard to imagine what south would be like in outer space, but if you use a reference body, like it's the sun, and if you say that this way is north, you can definitely say, sure, we're burning south along the ecliptic plane, basically lowering our orbit. Not really lowering it, but just changing it. And let's see if we can get this thing in here a little more. Just burning at like 1% thrust until this thing basically gets an encounter. It's getting closer and closer. I'm watching those numbers. Ooh. Seems to have disappeared on us. Ooh. So we need to go back the other way. That's okay, sometimes that happens. So sometimes it doesn't always line up precisely 100% the way you think it's going to line up, and that's okay. So we'll just go the opposite direction. Right about to here. Okay. And we'll just go back the other way until we get something like that. Alright, so all we gotta do, let's just finagle around a little bit. In fact, let's take a look at Dres. I always forget to do this. Let's focus view on Dres. Oh, that's right. Technically, we don't have an encounter with it yet, so it's not going to show us anything. That's fine. Let's just go ahead and see. Looks like we're a little bit ahead of Dres. Is that true? Which doesn't look like much of anything. Looks like we're right on smack on top of it. But let's see what happens if we start pulling toggles. That's making it worse. We're going to go this way. Oh, there was something. Some kind of encounter. It's not perfect, but it's something. And like I predicted, we have about 30 seconds of fuel left. If we didn't muck around having to turn backwards and go the other way, we would have had probably a perfect 30 seconds left, but that's okay. This is kind of a crappy encounter, but it'll be something. Ooh, come on, this thing's very cumbersome. It does not want to listen to me. It just keeps going. So very heavy. Okay. So we'll just kind of go this way a little bit. There we go. We get some kind of encounter. It doesn't tell us basically many details about that encounter, but it is no less an encounter. There we go. Let's see what else we could do. I want to make sure that we're putting this on the blue, not the purple. That'll definitely screw some things up for us. Let's see if we can get this any better by Oh, it is giving us a periapsis now. That's nice. 28. See if we go forward. That doesn't really do much for us. Neither does going backwards. So again, what if we pull... Actually, now that we have that, let's see if that'll let us... Interesting. Alright, so I think what we have to do is up. We have to go up, which I thought we were doing, but let's just see. It might just be very sensitive. Let's see. Yes. That'll bring us... I'll definitely fix it up for us, that's for sure. So we can go ahead and make that burn. Basically going to go right back to where we were. Sometimes these things are finicky. You have to kind of... Ooh, I don't like the way that's torquing like that. Torquing, not torquing. I don't think it's possible for a rocket ship to torque, although I'm sure somebody now, since I said that, is going to make a rocket ship that is capable of torquing. And if you do, I'd love to see that. That would be very interesting. But, yes, let's just go ahead and get this thing lit. So you can see now we're burning at 1%. It's going to try to match what we have. Of course, it won't be perfect. Yeah, we'll leave it right about like that. Which is not too bad. I'm just going to use the RCS just because it's very, very, very finicky, very sensitive. So just lining up straight across the center, and I'm pretty sure that if we do it like that, let's see, we're coming in this way, that we will get a counterclockwise orbit, which is what we want. That's kind of generally what you want when you're doing these sorts of things. You want a nice clockwise orbit, or counterclockwise orbit. But anyways, I think we're just about out of time with this episode, so we'll cut it short here, and we will see you in the next episode where we get a closed orbit around Dres. So see you then, everybody.